Well, hello, hockey fans. Here we are with our third edition of This Week on the Ice. And, of course, we have Randy Preston, the voice and the soccer, the real hockey guy here on the crew. Tonight we have Corey Mitchell here with us. And Corey's going to talk a little bit about the Sioux Falls adult hockey, which he is heavily involved in. And then we've got, hopefully we'll have a referee on here a little bit later. Randy's going to do his regular junior wrap-up, but also this week he did a bunch of extra research for you, and you're going to let us know about the players who are out there playing junior hockey.
Absolutely. We've got a lot of players from South Dakota that are playing junior hockey around the country. Talk a little bit about them tonight.
I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, that's what Hockey 605 is all about, for those players. Well, you know, Corey, we're really happy that you're here tonight. You know, we see you here every week when we're doing the show. You're running around here doing stuff for the adult league, and you know, we're and right behind us. Pretty soon we're gonna get to see the hockey players this week instead of see them and hear them like we normally do. So as you may notice, if you're following the show, we've kind of moved out to the Commons area here to try to get a little better audio and a little bit of better picture for you. So, you know, Randy, why don't you ask Corey some very knowledgeable questions on the adult. I mean, I've talked to Corey quite a few times, and it's always been about lacrosse.
So, I see. Hey, there you go. Well, Corey, I've known you for a few years. We bump into each other every once in a while. Tell me about your getting involved with the Sioux Empire Adult Hockey League here.
I actually served on the board as the vice president for a couple of years, and with the move, our prior director chose to leave the spot, so I took over, having the knowledge from the board position, and we really tried to bring a lot more organization structure to the administration side of the league to make it more seamless for our players to enjoy the games. Scheduling, communications, marketing, and to get all those things built up into
I understand. So, how many players do you have involved in the league right now?
We have 245 players.
Wow, that's a huge number.
Yeah, we have 13 teams. We have 5 A teams and 8 B teams. 225 players. I didn't realize it was that big.
Yeah, that's a big number. Now, I know that if I remember right, you do most of your games on, is it all on Sunday night?
Everything we do is on Sunday nights between 6:15 and 10:45.
All right.
It looks to me like it's mostly men. Do you have any women?
There's actually a large female contingent on the Axe team in the B League. There's, I think, 8 or 9 girls on that team. So, and they're really good players. Yeah, that's
Fun to watch.
absolutely. Yeah, it's.
So, well, since this is your first kind of foray into this, what's the biggest challenge you've had so far?
Just getting everybody on the same page, getting all the communications sent out, and getting the players to respond accordingly. But so far, things are going relatively smoothly. The new venue, the new process for registrations and collecting money and all that kind of stuff, everything's been pretty smooth. So just trying to make sure all the details are covered so that the guys can go home.
Perfect. You know, I was talking to somebody last week about their talking about adult hockey, and they said I showed up and I thought I was going to find a bunch of old men here, but there were a bunch of 20-year-old kids too. But you know, hockey is a lifetime sport. You probably have a few older people playing.
Yeah, you know, I didn't do any age checks. There's some older guys who are probably in their 50s and 60s, and actually probably one of the best guys in the B League is former Mr. Hockey in Minnesota, and he's 51 this year, and he moves like he's 18. It's unbelievable. So. Yeah, the A League especially it's a very high performing league. There's a lot of players who used to play professional Division I college, and you know the level of play has definitely increased over the last 5 years.
I mean, we were just talking off camera before the show started about referees, and of course you're very intimate with referee mentality because you know your kids won.
Right.
But you know, one thing that I've known, you know, my entire adult life, I used to play adult basketball. We used to call counting, and I used to rep it, and they called me Mr. T because I didn't take any flack from anybody. You know? But how hard is it in hockey especially with men and adults, to maintain any kind of decorum or discipline out there?
I think the thing that seems to work best for our best officials is to make your call and then just don't engage. You make the call and move on with your game and just keep it under control. The referees who engage tend to keep a little more heat. So when they're trying to justify their call to the guy that just penalized, and it's never going to happen. So, and every team's got a couple of guys that like to talk back. And so.
Well, I know we see that all over in every adult league. It's in lacrosse, it's in soccer, it's in basketball, it's in hockey. So, you know, that's what I think pretty good advice, just to make your call and get on the game.
Right, yeah.
You know, the numbers that you're talking about, is it hard to have that many refs lined up for all the games and everything?
I've been pleasantly surprised. I was a little worried. We're doing 2 games side by side this year, so we need 4 referees at a time. And we had 14 referees to kind of choose from. We've actually been able to add to that. We have, I think, 16 or 17 now. So far, so good. We have a self-assigning system, so the referees can go in and look at the schedule, and they can just pick up the games if they want to. And so far, that seems to be working. A lot of our referees also play, so they know their schedule, and they know when they can go in and they can. And so far, so good, but we're still in kind of beta phase for that.
Very cool. I was going to ask you about if you have a person who's out there who is really interested in joining adult hockey, what do they need to do?
The best thing to do is probably just go to COMpireHockey.com and join our mailing list. Right now we have an A and a B league at a pretty high level, but we're also looking to expand into a C league. I don't know if that'll be in the spring, maybe something over the summer or next season. But being in our mailing list, then you'll be part of all the communications we send out in the future about anything we're doing.
How do you figure out who belongs to what league? I mean, can they come register at whatever league they want, or do they have to do a qualification to get in the top league?
As of right now, they can kind of play in whatever league they want to. We did start collecting kind of some player information about their highest level play, their age, how long they've been playing adult hockey, and trying to create kind of a rating system that USA Hockey recommends for placing men and adults, and women, I should say, into the appropriate league. So this year they can go where they want to, but we're gathering that information to make better decisions about evening our leagues and getting guys where they need to play.
You know, as much adult hockey has taken place around all the areas into Minnesota, you know, you probably have a great venue here to hold an adult tournament.
April 18th and 19th, 2015.
Perfect.
We are on the calendar.
Here we go. And I hope that you're in there running the show.
Corey hasn't asked me yet, but I bet he will.
Well, nobody even needs to ask you anymore. They're just going to go, well, yeah, we got to get Randy. Just kind of like I
With a voice like that, you gotta.
Yeah.
Right?
There you go. Well, I remember, you know, really the very first time we met was at the girls' JV tournament and burning down the barn last year. And God, I love the whole thing. And me being extremely naive to hockey, yeah, even more naive to Randy Preston and his antics. You know, he was introducing these referees from Lakeview, Florida, and some place in Iowa, in Michigan, and you know, it's like, oh my God, these guys have come so far, you know. And I literally asked him, I go, these refs come from that far? Well, I gotta make your count.
Yeah, it's a joke. It's a joke.
A mile 46 after that.
There we go. There we go.
Well, with you know, one of the things that we've been talking to people about consistently since the IceFlex opened is how it's changing everything the ice cluster does. And I'm sure you're going to see the same kind of growth that everybody else has.
I really believe that's the case. We also have a process for free agents. So new guys who are in town that want to play and they know they belong in the early league, they can register on our site as a free agent. And that's a really good way for us to capture that growth from those people who come in. We may not have a team yet, but we can get them placed. And that's just going to skyrocket. Yeah, if we had probably 30 new players coming through that process.
Yeah, that's very cool. So if you're like me, and I don't play hockey, but I kind of enjoy it, I'm sure you're looking for some volunteers to help out with some stuff from time to time as well. Is that the case?
For the adult league, we really haven't. Once the schedule and all the stuff is set up preseason, really the only people who need to show up are the ones engaged, the scorekeepers, the referees, and they're all paid. Try to take care of them so that they keep coming back. Nobody wants to put up with these guys very long unless they're getting paid for it. So, no, it's not really a huge volunteer effort. I spend a couple hours a week now. Prior to the season, I was spending probably 15, 20 hours a week trying to build teams and collect money and get communications sent out and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, we're really not volunteer.
Well, okay, I see we got our referee guest here, so I'm going to switch over here and talk a little bit about our prime sponsor, Home Federal Bank. Corey, thanks very much for being with us. And as always, we want to thank Home Federal Bank for being such a great sponsor, not only of Hockey 605, but all the sports, all of our Sports 605 channels on the platform. You know, if you have a Home Federal Bank in your town, please walk in there and thank them for supporting us, bringing more youth activities and everything on our sports platforms. All right, we're back now, and as you can see, our middle guest has changed a little bit. Randy, I'm going to let you go ahead and take the honors of introductions.
Well, certainly. This is one of the top officials in the state of South Dakota. This is Brian Rice. I've known Brian for a few years. Got to play a little pump up the jam or something for Black Eyed Peas. There it is. Yeah, every time he's always asking me about that. Well, Brian, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I guess from a hockey standpoint, I was born and raised in Huron and played throughout growing up and through high school. And after high school, played for the SDSU Jacks for a year, and then went to Mankato State, tried to play there. Didn't exactly work out, but then after graduating from College of Mankato, moved to Colorado, and that's where I started reffing. It all started by I was playing men's league in Denver, and being a newlywed, money was a little tight, and one of the guys that I played men's league with said, "You know what, dude, you gotta try reffing. You know, it's great exercise. It's pretty good money, and keeps you involved in the game." And picked it up from that standpoint, and the priorities in life kind of change, and the one thing that doesn't change is a person's passion for the game. So,
how many years have you been reffing?
This will be my 24th year.
Wow. And you've got a background of not only just reffing, you know, Pee Wees and adult league and that type of stuff, but you've also done some junior hockey reffing as well.
Yeah, I guess I worked when I lived in Colorado. After 3-4 years, I actually reffed what was called the American West League, American Frontier League, which was a junior A league, and then moved to Sioux City in '96 and started with the USHL program in '96 and did about 10 years in USHL. I strictly lined for that league, and thoroughly enjoyed that. Yeah, it was good.
I think we saw you a few times in Sioux Falls, and I'm sure we all heckled you pretty good.
Yeah. Several people have been.
So how long have you been back in South Dakota doing this?
I guess moved to Brandon in 2000. So I guess been officiating back in the state for 13, 14.
You know, you've been involved for so long, not only as a player, but as a ref. And you know, from a referee standpoint, what are some of the biggest changes that you've seen in the game in the last 10, 12 years?
Well, I guess in terms of changes in the game, you know, we've really put an emphasis on concussions and head contact and just unnecessary injury. Safety has definitely become much more on the forefront. It always was there, but to put it into perspective, now with USA Hockey, we have somewhere in the average of 6 to 7 hours of online training, including just some mini trainings that are all required, and a lot of those have to do with heads up hockey and safety first. So that's probably one of the biggest changes. I guess, yeah.
Have you seen, just from because as a hockey player yourself, there are probably some things that you notice when you get a bunch of skaters on the ice. Have you noticed any advance in the technical abilities of the players over that time period, or are they pretty much the same as ever?
No, I think we've definitely advanced quite a ways since my days. Everything was much more concentrated back when I was playing. There was certain powerhouse programs, and now we've got Rushmore has a great program. Sioux Falls, obviously, we have this wonderful new facility in town here. Brookings has great facility. Pier has year-round ice. Mitchell has a new addition to their rink. And I think along with all those improvements in facilities, I think that definitely bodes well for South Dakota hockey and helping kids get to the next level.
Well, and we're going to cover that here in a little bit, Randy is, because, we do have, we were just talking off camera before the show started about a junior coach that I met last year who said, I'm not really sure I want to get on here and give an interview because I don't want these other coaches knowing about these South Dakota kids. He said, I come here and I find a lot of good kids here. So,
Brian, I got a good question for you. Yeah, I talked to Doug Sorensen, who's our head of officials here in South Dakota, many times, and one of his biggest challenges is continuing to recruit officials. People like, with me, if I was ever an official, I would have been done a long time ago because I'm just getting way too old for that. But anyway, if you had something to say about not only recruitment but mentoring the younger officials, what is your perspective on that?
I guess from a recruitment standpoint, in just talking to any hockey player in the state of South Dakota, you can't get a better part-time job when you're 12, 13, 14 years old. I mean, what you would make refereeing the Pee Wee Mite squirt games can't compare to mowing lawns, shoveling snow. And the best part of it is you're working on your skating, you're understanding the game better. And I think that was one of the big aha moments for me was when I actually learned the rules. I was like, you know what? I guess I maybe didn't know everything.
You didn't sit beside enough parents to get to really understand the
understand the rules. Yes, that's probably one of the biggest things though is you can't get any better part-time job as a young up and coming hockey player. Whether or not you want to continue on with your officiating career, great. If you just want to work on your skating, understanding the rules, that's great too. And you develop some very nice camaraderie with other people. You get to wear highly fashionable referee sweaters and some nice polyester pants. Maybe that's not a selling point, but that's the biggest thing that I would tell any young hockey player is what, where else are you going to get paid to skate at your age? Yeah, that's what it is.
What kind of programs do the referees have to not only bring kids along in terms of understanding the rules and that, but how to deal with unruly parents in the stands? And I mean, it's a little different here because you got some glass between you, but I know some of the other youth sports that we're involved in, we cover all of them. That can get pretty brutal on a young kid out there having people screaming at them because they don't like the call. What do you advise kids in that situation?
Well, I guess, maintain a high degree of professionalism. That's first and foremost. Always stay calm in any situation. Raising your voice with somebody who's raising their voice at you does nothing but escalate the situation. So I guess that's number one thing is to maintain professionalism. USA Hockey does a very good job of teaching zero tolerance to officials, players, coaches. One of the disconnects, as with any youth sport, comes at the parental level sometimes, and you get that occasional parent that may yell about something that's totally out of line. And I think that USA Hockey does a good job letting young officials know, okay, here's the proper way to deal with that situation. Alert the off-ice officials to have one of the volunteer parents that's working the gates or the crowd or security address that particular person, and up to the point where that person has it. And we also try to we have a program with USA Hockey officiating in terms of working on constructive criticism for young officials and evaluations, I guess. We definitely try to do a couple of evaluations on young officials, and also just working groups with younger officials, setting an example, letting them know this is how they should do this.
Well, I know that we promised you we'd have you on the ice for 7:30 for your game, and we're nearing that. So, will you come back and talk to us a little bit more?
Sure.
And because we are keenly interested in helping young officials understand the better parts of doing this and attracting and helping you guys get more younger officials and acknowledging your importance in the game. If it wasn't for you, there wouldn't be no hockey. Thanks. Well, thanks for being with us, and we'll be checking in with you hopefully very soon.
Okay, sounds
Thanks,
good.
Brian. Take care of that. All right. Folks, you probably haven't seen it, and I'm going to have to show you one of these days, but we just got some fantastic new Hockey 605 sweaters courtesy of our friends at Hockey Headquarters. We've been spending some time there, and actually this week we're going to be putting up an experts section on the website where you're going to be able to go in and watch the guys at Hockey Headquarters talk about what's happening in skates and the difference in skates. And like Bert has been very clear saying, look, this is not a 600 level course on hockey or skating, but there's a lot of people out there wondering about what about the skate. We were down looking at sticks last week, and it's just amazing the difference in all these. They got 600 sticks down there. Which one do you choose? And the thing about going to the local hockey shop, and Bert's been very clear about that. And we obviously hope they go to the Hockey Headquarters because they're a great sponsor of ours and of hockey, right? But you just can't, you can't look online and say, oh, that's the right stick for me. You can't look online and say, that's the right boot for me. You got to go put them on. You got to put the stick in your hand. And, that's why you should head down, to your hockey shop. But since Hockey Headquarters has been such a great sponsor of ours, we really want you to go down there. All right, Randy, you were absent last week.
Yes.
And it's nice that your wife gave us a pink slip, and so it's a fully excused absence.
Thank you.
But you're going to have to pull extra duty tonight to make up for that. We kind of missed out. We didn't have a very extensive junior report last week, but I was really excited to talk to you this week about what you're bringing to the show because, Hockey 605 and all of our other platforms are about the players.
Right.
And about these kids, especially who are trying to achieve a higher level. And you've got a great rundown tonight for us, not only on the junior games and the teams, but on these young players who are out there. So Take it away.
All right. Well, I'm actually going to start with these other South Dakota junior players because there is actually a dozen South Dakota players that I've been able to find out playing Tier 1 through Tier 3 junior hockey someplace, junior A hockey someplace in the United States right now.
And by the way, when we talked on the phone the other day, you said, now make sure and remind me that if you know of a player that we haven't talked about, email us, just info@hockey605, and let us know what's going on, because we want to profile that player.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, I found a dozen, but there might be more. And once again, I'm just focusing on these U20 teams, these kids that have played in South Dakota at one time or another and are moving on to that next level of hockey after high school hockey, or maybe in place of high school hockey. The one who's got kind of the eye of everybody right now is Zeb Knutsen's cousin, Walker Dewar. Walker is a Sioux Falls native, and he's playing down in Sioux City right now for the Musketeers. He's had a pretty good season so far. I believe he's played in about 9 games. He's got 2 points, 1 goal and 1 assist so far. And the team is really looking at him as a growth vehicle right now. They like the way he plays, and what I've seen of him playing so far in the 5 games that the Stampede has played against Sioux City already, he's a pretty good player. And he's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
You know, speaking of that, those guys playing each other that many times over the course of the year, they got to take a CD after a while. As the season progresses, maybe some races tighten up a little bit. That really adds a little bit of fireworks to the whole plan there. But when is Sioux City going to be back here next? You know?
Oh, gracious. I don't know off the top of my head. I will look it up and find out. But I know they're coming back here, I think, within the next few weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
We'll want to get down there and make sure and get him interviewed.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then from there, we don't have anybody that I've been able to find playing Tier 2 junior hockey right now. That's the North American Hockey League. I haven't found any South Dakota players in that. Now, there may be some, and if there are, please let us know. But we've got a variety of players that are playing in Tier 3 juniors right now. The North American Tier 3 League is a league that North American Hockey League put together, combining 2 or 3 other junior leagues, and they now have that all under their purview. And we've got quite a few that are playing in that league. We'll start with out in Helena, Montana, the Helena Bighorns. James Westaby, who's another Sioux Falls product, playing out there. He's only played in 2 games so far for the Bighorns, but he is out there getting some development and getting some knowledge. Haven't really heard anything more about that. I see his dad every once in a while. I'll talk to him and ask what's going on next time. And then TJ Theodosopoulos from Brookings is out playing in Billings, also in the North American 3 League. He is currently second on the team in scoring. He's got 16 points, 7 goals and 9 assists. He's played in 13 games. Now, I did notice that he wasn't playing this weekend. Don't know if he's injured or if there's some other thing going on, but he was not on the roster for either of the games that Billings played this weekend. Also on Billings is a good friend of our family and my son, Alex Meyer, the goaltender from Pierre, from Oahe.
You know, Carol caught him, and we got a chance to sit down and visit him when he was on his way from where he was. I can't remember where he was before, but he was on his way to Pierre and then on his way to Billings. So it was really nice to be able to catch him on the road. What a great guy.
He's a great kid. Good family, or good friend of the family. We've known him. Trevor and Alex played opposite each other for several years, so they got to know each other pretty well. I think they played on a South Dakota State team one year as well. So we've known them for years. But great family. I got a chance to actually watch Alex play in a couple of games up in North Dakota last winter when I was up there for a work visit. The Oahe team played in Dickinson and played in Mandan, and just so happened I was up there for the weekend, so it was a lot of fun. But Alex has played in 4 games so far. He's started in 4 games. He's got a 295 goals against, 2.95 goals against, 909 save percentage, which is really good. And he's 2-1-1 right now. And as a matter of fact, the Bulls are playing in a game right now, right as we speak. Alex did not start that game, but he is on the roster as the backup goaltender tonight. Haven't gotten an update on that. If I get a chance, I'll take a look. Continuing on, a couple of Rapid City players that are playing in Gillette. Bryce Mitzel He's played 14 games and has 8 points, 3 goals, and 5 assists so far for the Gillette Wild. And then we've also got Tristan Liebernight, who's out playing in Gillette. Tristan has appeared in 6 games on D, no points as of right now, but he is getting some playing time out there.
You know, and both of those guys last year really distinguished themselves as, you know, Mitzel is a hard skate.
Well, this is actually Mitzel's older brother.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's another Mitzel that's still playing
And,
on Rapid.
you know, I remember talking to Liebernight and just being so impressed at how he anchored down their defense last year. You know, he's a hard man in the back, and you know that's just really nice to see a tall, kind of slender kid who could play like that.
Very much so. Another former teammate of my son's, Zach Flockman. It depends on whether you want to make him angry or not, how you pronounce his last name. He's out now playing in Aber, Montana for the Glacier Nationals. He's formerly has spent the last couple years playing Tier 3 juniors. Played in the Minnesota League over in Rochester for a year. He started the year down in Texas, playing for the Texas Brahmas, and then just recently got traded up to Gillette. Only has appeared in 1 game up there, but he played in 13 games down in Texas, had 2 goals and 12 penalty minutes, and he's pretty much known for his penalty minutes. But Zach's a good kid and a big kid. Yeah. Now another Sioux Falls Flyer playing in this time in the Minnesota Flying Aces. This is a team that's based up in the Minneapolis area. Once again, North American 3 League, Lucas Muchelkanaus. And for anybody who's been in hockey around this area, everybody knows the Muchelkanaus family. I just spoke with Dan a little bit ago tonight, the dad, and he's got the daughter Hannah who played on the girls team last year, and I've heard rumors that she might be playing someplace out this year as well. They've got the younger brother Nathan who's playing, so it's a big hockey family. Anyway, Lucas is playing up in Minnesota. He's played in 10 games so far, has 4 points, including a goal and 3 assists. Was watching the game online, I think it was Thursday night when I was out in Montana, and he scored a goal. Shot from the point, went in. It's really kind of cool.
Nice.
And then we've got a couple of Huron players that are playing out in Hudson, Wisconsin for the Hudson Crusaders. Justin Rudebush, who was a pretty good Huron player from a couple years ago. He's 4th in scoring right now. He's got 21 points, 9 goals and 12 assists in 15 games. And then Bo Mendel is also out there, one of Justin's teammates. He so far has only played in 4 games, but he's got 2 goals and an assist for the Crusaders. Then we have 2 players playing up in Maple Grove for the Maple Grove Energy. Jameson Bach, who has played juniors last year. He played for a team that was based in Bloomington that looks like they either folded or took a year off this year. Well, he's now playing up in Maple Grove. He's played in 13 games and has 2 assists so far. And another Sioux Falls product, Junior Erickson. He was played on one of the JV or varsity teams for Sioux Falls last year. He's played in 16 games and has 4 assists so far. So it's a lot of players. It's 12 players from South Dakota that are playing juniors right now.
So these Tier 3 players, obviously their goal is to move up the ladder. So their next stop would be at a Tier 2 team.
That's correct.
And then hopefully on to Tier 1 and then college, I guess.
Absolutely.
Or Tier 2 in college. I guess we had quite a few of the Tier 2 guys go there last year. So.
Yeah, and in case there's people kind of wondering about how that whole process works, Tier 1 is strictly one group of teams. That's the USHL. That's the team that the Sioux Falls Stampede and the Sioux City Musketeers are in. Tier 2 is the North American Hockey League, and that's the only Tier 2 league in the country. And that's Brookings and the Brookings Blizzard and the Aberdeen Wings. Yeah. And then there are several Tier 3A leagues around the country. The biggest one right now is that North American 3 League. And then there's also the Minnesota Junior League that's based in Minneapolis. And they've kind of have a section that's up in the Minneapolis area, and then they have another one that's kind of down in the Wisconsin, Illinois area that's just another group of teams. And then there's Tier 3 leagues out on the East Coast, Tier 3 leagues out on the West Coast. So it's a little different. And really the difference between those 3 leagues is, it's obviously talent level, but you also have the whole proxy of how the teams generate income. Yeah. Tier 1, it's the teams pay for everything. They pay for the housing, they pay for the equipment, the sticks, the skates, basically everything. Tier 2, the teams pay for everything except the housing. And then Tier 3, it's basically the players or the parents pay the housing and they pay a fee to play for the team. But they're all still recruited in much the same way.
I know we, last year got an opportunity to really spend a lot of time around the Blizzard people because we're in Brookings a lot. And we're really impressed with the way that they handle the housing and ability families and how those people just overwhelmingly look at those guys like they were their own kids. It was really a great experience for all.
And it's a great experience. It's a lifelong friendship. I've never been a Bill A parent myself or Bill A parent, but I've known a lot of the players. There's quite a few of them that I still correspond with today from the Stampede. But I had a really close family friend that was a Bill A parent for one of the players who is now playing for the Buffalo Sabres. And so they still communicate. They still talk today. So it's kind of cool.
Well, it's amazing what you run into, as kids progress through these different levels. I mean, for many years in my soccer coaching, I took kids to ODP camp and got to meet kids who are now on the U.S. men's national team. So and of course Carol, my wife, was she was a lot higher up the food chain in soccer than she got to know all those kids. So. Well, that's fantastic, and hopefully we'll be able to keep up with those kids. And like Randy said, that's the nice thing about coming to the Iceplex. You don't know who's going to photobomb you next, but we just got photobombed here from the other side.
From the outside of the camera, yeah.
But anyway, like we were saying, if we missed anybody, please let us know. Just info@hockey605.com, and we want to get these kids on there and talk.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, what's going on? Speaking of the juniors, what's going on in juniors?
Oh, there is so much going on in juniors. It's kind of this is the heat of the season right now. We'll start with the North American Hockey League, the two teams that we've got here in South Dakota, the Brookings Blizzard and the Aberdeen Wings. They both had a 2-game weekend this last weekend, and Brookings had an interesting home and away series with Bismarck.
Like they did the weekend before?
The weekend before, yes. So I think the weekend before they did Friday night in Brookings and Saturday night in Bismarck. This weekend they did Friday night in Bismarck, Saturday night in Brookings. And they didn't have a great weekend. They really didn't. They played a home and away, like I said. They dropped both games. Friday night in Brookings, they took a loss 3-0. And Justin Catola took the loss, 34 saves, a lot of shots on goal from the Bismarck Bobcats. Brookings only had 23 shots on goal that night, which may or may not sound like a lot, but when you're facing a team that's throwing 34 or 35 or 37 at you, 23 is not going to get it done usually. Saturday night, they turned around and played in Brookings. The Blizzard took a 4-1 loss Saturday night, so they at least got a goal scored. Lone goal was a power play goal in the third by Bo Machad. Shots were quite a bit more even that night. Eric Hancock took the loss in goal for the Blizzard. He stopped 23 of 26 shots, and then they had an empty netter at the end. And then the Blizzard had 21 shots on goal for the night. So even a fewer shots, but looked like their defense was keeping them in the game that night. Moving up to Aberdeen, Aberdeen played 2 games at home this weekend. So nice little homestand up there at the beautiful building they've got in Aberdeen. They took on the Minnesota Wilderness, a team from Cloquet, Minnesota, way up north by Duluth. Nice little town there.
Northwoods kind of.
Oh, absolutely. It's a beautiful building up there, too. I think we got involved in a tournament up there once a long time ago. But and my wife has family up in that area, too, so we get up to the Cloquet area every once in a while. Friday night's game saw Aberdeen take a 3-1 loss. The Wings' only goal was scored in the third by Bjorn Sigurdsson. I think he's from Sweden. That's a hockey name. Yeah, it's a wonderful hockey name. Ronnie Hine and Matt Sherman with the assists. Andrew Shortridge was in goal, and he stopped 19 of 22 shots. Wings took 17 shots on goal for the night. Looks like it was a relatively clean game. There were only 4 penalties called the entire night, and that's pretty much unheard of in that league.
Yeah.
And then Saturday night, same teams, different outcome. Aberdeen grabbed a 2-1 victory on Saturday night. Goals from Kyle Hawk and Drew Doyen, and then Tanner Okeson had 2 assists on the night. So he actually had the most points of anybody for the game. Chad Catt took the win in net for the Wings, 27 of 28 shots that he stopped, and the Wings had 23 shots on goal for the game. So overall, pretty good weekend for Aberdeen. Not so much for Brookings. And if you're looking at the standings right now, Aberdeen's in 3rd place in the Central Division with 20 points, and Brookings is in 5th place. They're in actually last place right now in the Central Division with 15.
And you know, those 2 losses really hurt them because they were up in the middle of the pack this last week, and you know, they got to figure. I guess they got to get a toehold. You know, one of the things that I saw after the week before is, you know, them going to Bismarck and winning, and then Bismarck coming to Brookings and winning didn't make any sense at all to me, but it left a lot of unanswered questions that I apparently got answered in Brookings and in Bismarck this weekend. Yeah, they got to find a toehold and get crawling back up the middle of the pack.
Looks to me like the team's playing relatively good defense. You're not seeing these, you know, 8-1 games or anything like that. It's a pretty tight game, but it's also looking like they're not taking a lot of shots right now. Yeah. Or if they are taking a lot of shots, they're missing. Games yet? I'll pull it up on Fast Hockey one of these times and take a look and you know, see what happens.
We're going to get up to Brookings one of these times and at least get some interviews with the players and stuff to get back. And also, you know, we're going to try here in the very near future to get some of the Wings people at least with us on Hangouts or whatever we want to talk about the team. You know, ever since we started Hockey 605, the people at the Wings have been really enthusiastic about it. And every time we were asked to do anything, we just jump right on.
That's a great group up there. Yeah, it really is. Well, moving on
to the Herd.
Let's
talk about the Herd.
Sioux Falls Stampede had 2 home games here in Sioux Falls this weekend. Going into the weekend, looking at it, they played the #1 team in the league in the Cedar Rapids Rough Riders. They had the Cedar Rapids on Friday night, on Pink in the Rink night at the Denny. And then Saturday night, they took on Omaha Lancers, which is the last place or second to last place team in the West. So talk about a disparity of 2 teams.
Yeah.
Going into the weekend, you would have thought 2 points for the weekend, probably for the Stampede. Maybe they'll probably, you know, lose to Cedar Rapids, and they'll probably, you know, put a beat on Omaha.
If you're logical, you would think that.
Not even close to what happened. Not even close. Saturday or Friday night, like I said, was Pink in the Rink night at the Denny. If you've never been to one of the Pink in the Rink nights, it's an experience. They paint the ice pink. It's kind of cool unless you're one of the off-ice officials and have to look at pink ice all night.
Yeah.
Walked out of there with a headache that night, but that's okay. I was on PA, so I didn't have to look at it too bad. Herd looked really, really strong against the #1 team in the league. They had goals from Kiefer Bellows, Dakota Joshua, Logan O'Connor, and Parker Toomey. They had 4 goals in that game. And Cedar Rapids doesn't give up many goals, so that was pretty impressive. Dylan Eichstadt ended the game with 2 assists. Stefanos Lekas took the loss in goals, an overtime loss. The Cedar Rapids scored 72 seconds into the overtime period. Once again, a very close game throughout the night, and it was decided on a very, very strange, controversial call that happened at the end of regulation. If you've been paying attention to the media at all on it, there have been a lot of discussion about that call in particular. About 1:10 left in regulation, Logan O'Connor took a hit, or actually hit one of the Cedar Rapids players, and it hit him kind of high. It looked like a relatively legal hit from where I was standing, but once again, I'm not on the ice, I'm not the official. The referee did not raise his arm. I don't know if he didn't see it or if he just didn't call it. End of regulation, that was the next stop. Linesman went over to the referee and said, listen, there's a head contact penalty over there, it should be a major. So he convinced the referee to call a 5-minute and a game misconduct on that head contact, and that put the Stampede going into overtime, playing 4-on-3 for the overtime period, for the entire overtime period. Needless to say, it didn't matter. The goal was scored 72 seconds later. I know Coach Eads was fairly livid that night. I was listening to Jimmy Olander on the radio. He was pretty upset about it. And after the game, our off-ice officials' locker room was right next to the referees' locker room, and the referees weren't all that happy about it either. Yeah, so it was a.
Well, isn't that kind of a rare occurrence where you'd have somebody
linesman convinced the referee to call a spearing penalty on the Cedar Rapids goaltender. And looking back at the video, it was probably a pretty good call. He decided to do a cup check with his stick on one of the Sioux Falls players, and he went down. But the ref didn't see it. Linesman saw it and lobbied. And so that happened twice in the game, once against Sioux Falls, once against Cedar Rapids. So I guess, the hockey karma, or the hockey gods made it even, but it's still kind of a bizarre occurrence.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they'll get past that, and and hopefully the league will be taking a look at it. And they're doing that more and more all the time with scrutinizing the officials.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see if there's any.
Yeah, we'll see. I know that there was a referee supervisor, USHL referee supervisor in the house that night. And from what I heard, and once again, rumors are what rumors are, there was a little bit of a butt chewing in the locker room that night. So,
well, that happens. We several years ago when they had the Summit League championships at South Dakota State, we were the Summit League media, and this had just happened to do with an interview. But one of their rules was we had to give the coaches a 10-minute cooling off period. And I'm like, an NCAA Division I coach, they need a 10-day cooling off period.
Right.
But this coach got up and just was railing on the ref, was railing on the other team. At the end of the game, you could see the officials, the conference officials, escorting him to a car to be driven down to the headquarters for the straightening out process. Because you can't do that.
No, it's not a good thing at all. Not a good thing at all. Okay, so we got through Pink in the Rink night. The Denny crew shaved all the pink off the ice, and we had regular ice on Saturday night for the Omaha Lancers. Omaha comes to town. Not a great team. They've had a pretty rough season up to that point, and it was a night that was just really, really strange. I mean, both teams looked a lot better, I think, than what their record indicated, and the defense was pretty tough on both teams. It ended at 2-1 in a shootout. Sioux Falls had one goal. The goal was from Lucas Bukta, with Parker Toomey and Troy Loggins with the assist. That was 28 seconds into the second period. So they come out in the second period just on fire. And then Omaha tied the game about 10 minutes later. And then we had another controversial call in the third period. A Sioux Falls goal was waved off by the referee, indicated that it was kicked into the net. I'm sitting here on the headsets listening to production and kind of everything that's going on, and pretty much the consensus was that it was deflected off of the guy's skate, but it wasn't kicked because there was no kicking motion. Unreviewable, but the referee immediately waved it off, and so away we go. And that would have been the game winner, and it would have, would have taken care of it. We wanted to go into the shootout, and Art Dry, who was in goal, had a tough time in the shootout. Two shooters against him, and they both scored, and we couldn't get a goal against the Omaha. So tough night, tough weekend. But like I said, going into the weekend, I think 2 points. Coming out of the weekend, 2 points. Yeah. So a little bit bizarre way of getting it, but they got it.
A different way than anybody would have thought.
Absolutely. And looking now at the Western Conference standings, Sioux Falls, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're in 6th place with 11 points, with a record of 4, 7, and 3 right now. They're having a tough stretch. They are back in the house on Friday night in Sioux Falls. Cannot remember exactly who they play, but it should be another great game. I'm fairly certain it's a Western Division team. Let's find out here. Yeah, they play the Des Moines Buccaneers, who the Des Moines is just on fire this year. So once again, should be a great game. I'll be on PA Friday night, so come on out, listen to me shout and use my
And
voice.
hey, if you haven't been to the Jenny to see a game, you got to get out there and see it. And they have room.
Yeah, they have room. The attendance on Pink in the Rink night was 7,800. Attendance last night was 5,300. And the Stampede lead the league in attendance. They're almost double the second place team in terms of attendance.
And haven't they been very consistently the leader in that?
The last 3 years, they have been the leader. And for whatever reason, Lincoln, who has been steadily the leader in attendance over the years, they're having a really bad downturn right now. Matter of fact, they had to cancel their game on Friday night. They were taking on, I believe it was Sioux City, and somebody was drilling the posts for the ice for the net, and they went through the concrete, hit a glycol line under the ice, and had coolant leak. So
you got to put a stopper on the drill bit. You just got to do that. Well, okay, what a great report there.
Thank you.
You know, and again, you know, the Stampede were up in the rankings a little bit higher last week than they are this week, and you know, like you said, they're having a rush there. It's a long season.
It is.
But man, you know, it's about winning those games that you should be winning, and I'm sure Coach is talking to them about that.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. The Stampede actually are looking a lot better. They're playing quite a bit more as a team. Coach has made a few line changes over the last few games, and the fact that the defensemen are the ones scoring the goals right now is a little bit odd as well.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what's happening. Seeing a lot of shots from the point, being deflected by somebody in front of the goaltender. Honestly, that's the way the goals should be scored in that league.
Yeah.
So good stuff.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Randy. Well, let's finish up with just what's going on around the state this week. You know, we've got you know, every high school team and below age group, they're all practicing. They're in the so there's a lot of practicing going on in almost all the communities. But I was kind of surprised. I just went through the organizations. Aberdeen showed a boys varsity game today against Huron. Must have been a exhibition or whatever. We haven't heard the outcome there. Brookings, of course, not much there, but just a lot of practice again. Huron, no news. In Mitchell, though, we do have some stuff happening this weekend. Of course, the big pro hockey celebrity hub's going on this weekend. I don't know if you've ever been over that, but I hear it's supposed to be a lot of really, really good time. And then Planet Hockey Skills Clinic is on the 15th over there. So just go check out the Mitchell website if you need more information. Today at Oahe, they hosted Team South Dakota 16 for a doubleheader. And I didn't get time to get news on the scores on that one, but of course that'll be up. But you know, we looked at the 16s here against the academy team, of our academy team, and you know, it happens like that almost every time you get a team where kids are from all over together. Their first game's pretty ugly, and I mean, as it should be. I mean, you got a lot of timing issues and that sort of thing. Their second game, though, they came on and really looked good, and ended up losing very late in the game. But they really looked good the second game. So I'm kind of curious to see how they did against Oahe today.
It'll be very interesting. I was at the first game, actually, helped with scoring and PA. The first game that they did in the morning.
Yeah.
And that was a little bit of a penalty fest. Yeah. So if I recall, after that game, both of the coaches had to serve a game misconduct or game suspension for having too many penalties.
Really?
So yeah.
You know, the one thing that I really noticed too, because that academy team, they were, I think, a little younger than 16.
Yeah.
But boy, those kids were nice. But the South Dakota boys weren't, you know, they weren't going to back off on that. So it was, you know, the second game I thought was it was a very good physical game. Not a lot of penalties and just good quality.
Perfect. That's what it needs to be. And the U16s, they talking to their coach and their handlers, these games are basically their practice.
Yeah.
They don't get together and practice as a team very often, and so when they do get together, they're playing games.
Yeah. Well, and I guess that's kind of, especially in hockey, going to be kind of the nature of that type of team, you know. But you know, in hockey, defensemen all play pretty much
Right.
you know, they all have the same role. The goalie has the same role. The forwards have the same role. But you know, getting them connected and figuring out where that guy's going to be skating to. Exactly. So that's something you have to do over time. You know, one of the things talking with them too last week about how many kids they have helped go to the next level out of that national championship.
Yeah.
You know, and so on the one hand, you have all that success, and then you're doing exactly like you're supposed to, sending those kids onto the next level and helping them get there. And then you kind of have to reload and see what you got from that level on. But you know, that bunch of coaches they've got, they're the guys to give that job to. They're a bunch of good coaches. At Rushmore, again, a lot of varsity practice, but the Pee-wees this weekend or this coming weekend are going to be taking on Gillette, which apparently they have a pretty good growing hockey program over in Gillette. You know, one of the nice things about anywhere in Wyoming, you know, they've got a lot of money to spend on these types of things, you know, in terms of facilities.
Right.
And, you know, so that's really fantastic to see them coming on board. At Sioux Center, this coming weekend, they're hosting a JV Girls Jamboree. And of the teams that I looked at, I know for sure the Yankton girls are going to be going down there. I'm not sure who else is. And then in Sioux Falls, Wednesday night, there's a goalie clinic for mites and older, right here at the Iceplex from 7 to 8:30. So, you know, there's some stuff going on, but, you know, the main part of what's going on all around South Dakota right now is practice, 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 practice. We're going to be kicking off the boys varsity schedule later in
It all starts on Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah. And the Sioux Falls team start a little later than the rest
Right.
of it seems like, but you know, there's a lot of younger hockey starting to take place at some tournaments. So we'll be, you know, as we proceed along here, we'll be bringing you that news and probably be filling up a little bit more time with the teams and the players. And you know, we really want you to let us know in your community if you got a player who's doing something special or a team that's doing something special, because really this is all about you. So I don't know, Randy, if you have anything else.
I do not, other than if you are interested in taking part, perhaps being interviewed or would like to come on and talk with us, give us a shout. You gave out the email address a little earlier, info@hockey605.
Yeah, info@hockey605.com.
We'd love to have you.
Yeah, and I'm sure on the Hockey 605 website we also have a contact form. You can contact us through Facebook or give us a Twitter or whatever. But you know, get out there and contact us. We want you to be on the show, and we want you to be part of it. Well, I'm going to close up tonight with one last shameless self-promotion. You know, we have been working very hard for the last year to develop what is probably the country's best tournament program on a smartphone program out there. And actually, I'm on the internet every day looking for people who are doing what we're doing, and it also is appearing to me that we're not only the best, but we're the largest at this point, right out of Sioux Falls. And just want you folks out there to know, if you're running a tournament or some kind of an event that you need a program, we have a way for you to completely eliminate your printing costs forever, plus give your attendees a better experience. And we have a way that you can generate a little bit more money too. So just go to tourneyprogram.com if you want to see this thing work. But we got a lot of these out there going on and working right now. You know, we did an 8-tournament deal with Brookings Ice Skating Association, hosting all their tournaments, and they're still going to print them. That's just kind of in the transition process. Just this week, we are finishing off negotiation with Dakota Alliance Soccer Club to host their 3 very big tournaments. So we're really showing people how they can improve their tournament experience. Well, Randy, we made it through one more week. We made it, man. It was so nice to have you back. You know, and last week it was just so great having Patty and Karen from the figure skating. You know, I thought they just did a great job. They did. But in that part of it, I thought was wonderful. But man, I really missed you on the junior report and everything else. Well, folks, thanks a lot for being with us for this week on the ice. And we're going to be back next week, same place, same time. Hope you like the format with the guys skating behind us instead of us being in the rink. I heard a lot fewer pucks hitting the glass this week.
Certainly a lot quieter.
And hopefully the show is better for you. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week, 7 o'clock Central Time, right here on Hockey 605.
Take care.